What do we do now? That's the question. And actually, that's a book. This is Book Talk at Book Place. I'm your host, Anthony Mwerore. At Book Talk, we get to have authors come and tell us about their books. Today, we have a guest known as Kevin, and he's going to be here shortly to talk about his book, What Do We Do Now? It's a play in two acts. And to find out more, I'll ask you to join me as we go together and meet Kevin. Here we go. Hello, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, welcome to Book Talk.
What's up? What's up? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Good to see you, and I hope you're doing good too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, thank you. Pleasure to be here myself, man.
Yeah, maybe we can start by knowing who is Kevin.
Oh man. All right. So I'm a Houston native artist, and by art, I work in many mediums: painter, writer. I draw, I tattoo. I'm a filmmaker and a theater as well. So I'm an artist of many forms.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah,
multi-talented. I get. That's how it comes out.
yeah. Thank
Multi-talented. Now, Kevin Aregbe. That name's. Tell us about Aregbe. That name sounds familiar.
Well, that's my father's name, Aregbe. I wasn't raised by my parents. I was raised by my aunt. My father is Nigerian. My mother is African American, which has a lot. My favorite scene in this book is actually the scene about that particular part of my life. I don't even want to say of my life because the book is not about me, but that's my favorite scene in the book.
Okay, so you
when
included
the
there.
when when the Nigerian woman meets the American woman.
Oh,
I think it's
that's
funny.
cool. That's cool. It sounds cool. Now,
Yeah.
when did you get? When did you start writing?
I started writing when I was in jail. When I was young, I wrote two books. I didn't finish one of them, but I started a book when I was in jail, and I think I was 17 years old in the county. I started writing my first book.
What had taken you there?
Huh?
What had taken you in jail?
I got charged with an aggravated robbery. Uh, the summer, fresh out of high school, I didn't go to graduation. I went to jail instead.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a new one. Yeah, so you went to jail, and but then it's good to see you here. That you're out of jail and you're doing something with your life. That's good to hear.
Yeah, for sure, for sure,
Uh-huh.
for sure, for sure, for sure.
How long back is that?
High school, shit, that was 2005. It's 2023. That was
Oh,
over
that's
15 years ago. It's a long
quite some
time.
time. Quite some
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. And when I mean, this the book that you are writing back then? No, I guess no.
Nah, nah, nah. I wrote
Wait,
this book. Honestly, I
wait.
wrote this book fast. Maybe about a month, I was done with it. It's actually a play, but it's published as a book on Amazon. But I was
Okay.
done with it in about a month. I wrote it, edited it. I got this done. This came straight out of me. I
And
shot
this it must be a recent one. How many books have you written so far, if I may ask?
this. Published. maybe 4 or 5. Ridden, maybe 10. Maybe eight. About 8 books. Yeah, I
Oh,
wrote 8 books.
that's cool.
Sorry.
Eight or 10. That's quite a number, and it's a big number. I've
Yeah,
just started writing recently. I have done my third book, and which was a collaboration anyway,
yeah,
and it's quite a job that you've done.
yeah,
Now, what do we do now? Tell us
yeah.
about. Tell us about it.
So there's nothing like what do we do now that I've ever read. It's
Really?
um, it's a
Yeah.
play. It's actually a play, and
Okay.
basically it is different African American issues from the 1940s all the way until 2020. It's an urban fiction about a fictional family dealing with all of these issues, from police brutality to the war on drugs, welfare, just a lot of systematic racism. But they're dealing with these issues over these decades in 1965 in
Mhm.
particular. So they're going through issues from the 40s to the 2020s, but the setting is 1965 for good
Mhm.
reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's in the message, the main message, and who is the book intended to be read by?
Well, since it's a play, it's really for theater goers, and the reason why it's set in 1965 is because that's the year after the Civil Rights Act was passed,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that the Jim Crow laws are in some ways worse than slavery. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to I didn't want to be too old in making a cliche African American culture book. I didn't want to make a slave book, but I wanted to show the impact of slavery and the
Okay.
impact of racism to people who were not alive back then based on my studies.
Mm-hmm.
So overall message is somewhat the title. We've been through all of this stuff. What do we do about it? What are
Mm-hmm.
we going to do about it?
Mm. Yeah, and as you say, it's a play. So, uh, has it been acted already, or did you write the play and then you turn it into a book immediately?
Well, the first adaptation is actually in April, Easter Monday, right? So
Okay.
it's going to be done for his first time ever, Easter Monday this year, around the time of my birthday. And it hasn't been acted out yet, but I already have a full cast, a great cast, starring some of the best actors I could find in Houston. And yeah, it'll be for the first time ever in April. It already got picked up for a festival though to be done in September as well. So it's looking promising.
Yeah, and from your
It's getting a lot of
introduction,
reviews on Amazon.
sorry.
I said, and it's also getting a lot of reviews on Amazon right now.
Oh yeah, I saw quite a number of reviews.
Yeah,
Almost 30 reviews, and it
yeah,
must be very interesting to read.
yeah.
And
Thank you.
and I believe also the play is an interesting one. Now you say a play in two acts, but when you are introducing, I think there's a lot of activity. What do you mean by in two acts?
Well, in theater, you have one act, which is usually about an hour or less, or let's
Okay.
say it's a 15-minute play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if your play is going to be long, then you don't want to have people sit in there all the time. So you
Yeah.
have Act One, then you have an intermission, and then you have Act Two. So this
Mm-hmm.
play is about 90 minutes. So that's two different acts. That's
Okay,
pretty
because
long.
at first glance I thought that the two acts are just two scenes in the play and
Oh
that's it.
no, 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 no! It's
Okay.
90 minutes. It's
So
around
it's
90 minutes.
actually, yeah, because and I got confused when you introduced and you say these, and I could sense there is so many scenes in the play. About
Yeah,
how many scenes? About how many?
I believe it's 18 scenes
Hmm.
in this play. In the full version, the published version is condensed.
Okay,
The full version you have to see in person.
okay, but there's still that strong message that
Oh yeah, for sure.
that
The
big
message is still there.
question
Yeah, the message is
is
still there. It's just, in my opinion, it's just less comedy in the condensed version. I added the comedy to the
okay.
actual play. In my opinion, that's what I did.
Yeah, and I kind of started reading a bit of the play, which is this book, and
Okay.
I don't know, but someone is gonna read. At first, I was reading, and there is a discussion. There is a conversation between Kyle and why
Kylie. Yeah.
Kylie, Kyle
Yeah.
and Kylie. It got
Yeah.
me kind of confused at first. Why did you choose to such
Well,
similarity?
that's the father and
Uh-huh.
the daughter, but
Yeah.
he named her after him. So his name is Kyle and her name is Kylie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
That's
it
it.
is. Yeah, it is. If you dyslexic, that is
Yeah.
kind of messed up. I didn't think about that. If you got a little dyslexia going on, you might miss that out.
I had got to about the 10th exchange, and I'm like, am I reading an exchange from one person? And then, oh, no, it's Kyle and Kylie.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. And it's an interesting concept that you mentioned. A father named his daughter uh, after himself. I've had fathers naming their sons, but not their daughters.
Yeah, well, she's very special. She's the main character. There are three main characters in this play, and what's different about it, there's no antagonist.
Okay.
So the three main characters are the mother, the daughter, and her son. So it's Kylie, Edwana, and Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
And Kylie is pretty much the lead, following after Eddie, and she's just a special black woman. You know, you can
Okay.
just tell that she's destined for greatness.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are the heights? What's the climax of the play?
Well, the climax is the traumas, the continuation of traumas.
Okay.
So, without spoiling the play, I would say
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
consider issues from 1940s to 2020. Let's say the Tuskegee experiment. Let's say Trayvon Martin passing. Let's say uh, sex trafficking of black women, just
Mm-hmm.
randomly getting sex trafficked.
Mm-hmm.
The climax is them dealing with those issues firsthand. They are hit with them out of nowhere. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you wake up in the morning and your dad is George Floyd. You get that doesn't happen slowly and then it just happens. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
that's the climax of the play is the traumatic experiences.
Mm. And just in the introduction, I observe a heated exchange of words, and how well broadcast is that in the play? And is there a message intended for this heated exchange between the daughter and
Between the heated exchange between who? There's a lot of heated exchanges in the play. Between Kyle and
yeah,
Kylie.
yeah, there's
Oh,
that.
oh, definitely. They are so much alike.
Mhm.
The father and the daughter that they always argue.
Okay.
So they just argue and argue and argue all the time. That's their thing in the play.
Yeah, and the way I look at families these days, or the setting of the society, is a big challenge between the way things were back in the 1960s, 40s, and back then. Was is there something that you've drawn from that? Because I think that today's exchange is more escalated than it was back then. Or
Yeah.
did you get it that from where you're drawing your play, there were still some those heated arguments, exchange
Yeah,
of
definitely. Because we're humans. People like to romanticize the past.
okay.
Well, the shit was not better or worse. It
Mm-hmm.
just was what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
we are human, so we've always done stuff. We like it's not. I don't like to get into things used to be like this, things used to be like that. They dealt with what they had to deal with, and again, I put this in 1965 for a reason. I put this at one of the worst years ever. Like you know what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah.
like, now look at how they would have dealt with this. That's kind of a good way to look at it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if you think
Mm-hmm.
about the '60s, think about all of the assassinations.
Mm-hmm.
Think about like I said, the passing of the Civil Rights Act. This is the manuscript for my play, right? This is the
Mm-hmm.
manuscript.
Yeah.
The Jim Crow laws was thicker than my manuscript.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a whole 2-act play. Uh,
Yeah.
Double-sided pages, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Jim Crow laws was thicker than that. Could
I
you
get it.
imagine?
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, so
No,
much happened.
yeah,
Back then.
no, it wasn't perfect back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes they like to paint the pictures like there was only one-sided uh, separation. There was a challenge that was just one directional.
Yeah.
So you bring us into the picture that it was even in the African American setting, there were some challenges they were going through amongst themselves. Ah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, we get that. So this is good. Thank you for putting this into a book, and we look forward to even watching the play. Those of us who are in the vicinity, they
Yeah.
can always pop in and watch the play. Sounds an interesting one.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I am wondering, what's the age limit of the one who's coming to watch this play, or the one that is going to get the book?
So this play is there's a lot of subtext. There's a lot of deeper meanings. So it's not any curse words. So it's suitable for kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, subject to the actors how they feeling, they might say slip one out. But aside from that, it's age appropriate for children. But the context is so deep and heavy. It's very adult centered. Now let's consider this though. If you're watching a play, you're looking to be entertained. This
Mm-hmm.
particular play is more like infotainment. It's more like information and entertainment. I'm talking about religion. I'm talking about the Jews. I'm talking about the relationship between non-black people who identify as black. I'm talking about, like I told you, my favorite scene is a comedic scene where the Nigerian neighbor meets the African American woman for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about politics. It's it's very, very, very deep. It's not so a younger person will not appreciate it as much because there's so much underlying subtext. But so
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely for adults. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's censored to the point to where the language isn't foul. So anybody would enjoy it if they're a theater goer.
That's good. Good to hear that. Wonderful. And yeah, so what are the things are in the works right now?
Well, honestly, the only thing I'm working on is the play. Like I said, the play is in April 10th, 7 p.m. at Matchbox Houston at Midtown Arts. And the tickets are available on my website, artbykevo.com, or through the theater website, Match Houston. And when I'm working on something, that's all I'm concerned with. That's all I'm doing. So what's most important is rehearsals, interviews, podcast, advertising, promotion, keeping a communication with my cast and crew, keeping a communication with my co-producer, making sure I'm still spending time with my family and working, and trying to make this first adaptation the best that we can. That's the only thing that's important. I'm not working on anything else, and
Mhm.
even when I'm done with this, I'm just going to be working on some other art form. I'm a full time artist, so art is something that I continue to do. I just art. Whatever is next is next.
Art, every day, every single day. And we wish you the best in everything that you're doing. At Book Talk, we always like sharing some ideas from for those people who may be contemplating putting together a book, or even putting together a play and making it into a book like you just did.
Yeah.
Maybe can you give us a few tips?
Well, I'll say this. This may not help everybody, but it's going to help the person that it needs to help. Is that nobody cares if you don't do it or if you do it, so you might as well just do it. Um, and in terms of ego and competition, I get a kick out of getting things done. And I look down on people who talk about they're gonna do it, and they never do it. That's laughable to me. So that may not a lot of people may not like to hear that, but that will motivate me. So the few people that does motivate, I hope that does motivate them because whether you do it or not, nobody's gonna. Most people aren't gonna care. You gotta care.
That's cool. Yeah, I also like to see people who are doing rather than those people who are speaking and not
Yeah.
doing anything. Just get in the work, just do it and
Hmm.
make it happen. It doesn't have to be perfect. Of course, you need to pay attention to what you're doing. You
Yeah.
have to put in effort, sacrifice some things. But then if you're looking for perfection and you're waiting for it, then it may never come. Just go there and do it.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Now, since you've written a play that's a script, and you've also written other books, so are all scripts? No, I don't think so.
Nah, nah, nah. I've written both. I've written movies, plays, and books. And books from reference to short stories to full novels. Shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, I've written a lot. I've written all kind of stuff.
What?
Writing is just art. It's all creativity, man.
So, what's the difference between those different books?
Well, the difference for the overall difference is the medium has a different way to connect with the consumer or
Hmm.
the person being entertained. A person who loves poetry is not going to always love political poetry. Sometimes they may love romance poetry, or they may love satire. So your message has to be able to convey that. Uh, if your message cannot convey that poetically, maybe you should write it in a rhyme. Maybe you should write it in a music. Maybe you should write it as a story in a novel. Maybe it should be a short story in a novella. Maybe it should be a play. Maybe it should be a movie. The message is based on the how you're delivering it to the person you're entertaining or the consumer.
Hmm. Coming back to your, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Is there an answer in the book? Like, okay,
Well,
yes.
in a way, yes. In a way, there is one resolution that they decide on, but that may not be the answer for every. There's billions of people on the planet. There's an answer for this particular family though.
Hmm.
But your family, my family, that's a different question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll never have the answers for everybody. We'll never have the answers for everybody. Nobody will.
Mm. So at the end of it all, there's still going to be remain that part that has not been answered.
No, no, they get the answer. They resolve what they have to do. But
Hmm.
this is art, so that's why they figure it out because we're living in their world. But
Yeah.
their message, their resolution may not work for the next person.
And I get that. Yeah,
Yeah,
not everything works for everybody. I mean, your ideas could not be my idea of how to go about things. So what do we do now? Yeah, we'll get the answer from that, but then we'll think of our situation and we'll know the way to go about it.
yeah,
Yeah, and thank you very much for sharing everything, for all this that you've brought to Book Talk. We appreciate
yeah,
you.
yeah, 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 yeah. No problem, no problem, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, a few things that you'd like to add about the book itself before we go out.
I just want to say the book is available on Amazon. You can search Kevo. What do we do now? Check it out especially if you're in Houston, you can read it before the play actually comes out. Most people who have bought the tickets because they read the book. Like I've seen that correlation, and uh, and yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
Yeah. So the link to the book is going to be shared, is in the description of the video. So you just click on it and it'll take you to the book. So you buy it, you read it. It's available on Kindle. I saw that. It's available on Kindle.
Yeah, it's
So
on Kindle as well.
yeah, so go get it and read it. And
And
get
that's it, man. Thank you, man.
yeah, thank you too. So we are coming to the end of the show, and we really appreciate you. But before we go, we always ask our guests to leave us with a few words that we should always remember, because I know you have some words that you'd like remembering. Which are the few words that we should always remember?
Is that time is your biggest asset.
Time is your biggest asset.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you very much.
All
And
right.
our time is up here, and I
All right.
hope I hope that we used it to the best of our ability.
I believe we did.
Yes, and for those of you who are watching, those who have listened, if you are watching this live or listen to it live, or if you get to listen to it after we are through with it from our website or from our podcast platforms, please know that we value your time. Yes, time is your greatest asset. We value your time and we thank you for taking your time. Give us some feedback, comment, ask questions, and we will be back at you answering that. Direct some questions to Kevin, and that's about it.
All right,
We
man.
we are out.
All
This
right.
has
Have a
been
good
Book
one.
Talk. This has been Book Talk. I've been your host, Anthony Moirore, and together with our guest today, Kevin Aregbe, we are asking, what do we do now? We sign off. Bye for now.
All right.
Okay.